behalf of the faculty and staff, it's my honor and privilege to welcome you to the dedication of this building. My name is Dr. Julius Greg Adams, and I am the Executive Director of the Center, and I am thrilled and excited to be a participant and the MC of this event. It is not often that you get to acknowledge the work of someone who has positively impacted so many lives while they are still around to hear the accolades. The university and SUNY leadership felt it was important to not just build a new building to provide a vibrant, dynamic learning community that will continue to deliver comprehensive community-based academic and workforce development programs to members of the Western New York region, but to ensure that the campus and surrounding community does not forget who ensured that such services were made available over 40 years ago. As a Research One top-tiered institution of higher education, the University at Buffalo understands the value that EOC brings to its commitment to engaging in community service, workforce development, and the development of a pipeline for underrepresented groups to enter the university in particular, and higher education in general. The unanimous support of today's dedication is a testament to the commitment the university, the governor's office, the state and local politicians, the mayor's office, SUNY, and the community has to ensuring that we develop the academic and vocational skills that are necessary for people to become self-sufficient. Thank you for coming, and I would like to introduce our first speaker, the president of the University at Buffalo, Dr. K.Tripathi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. I'm delighted all of you could join us for this special dedication ceremony. Our University at Buffalo community is deeply proud and honored to name our new Educational Opportunity Center building after the Honorable Arthur O.Eve. A great champion of educational and social equality, who did so much to enrich our Buffalo community and communities throughout our state during his distinguished 36-year career in the New York State Assembly. We are so pleased he and his family are with us today. I would also like to recognize some of our many distinguished guests who have joined us for this celebration, including Lieutenant Governor Robert Duffy, Chancellor Emeritus of the New York State Board of Regents, Robert M.Bennett, SUNY Trustee Eunice Lewin, SUNY Trustee Lori Moore, Secretary of the State, University of New York, Joel Pierre-Lue, U.S. Congressman Brian Higgins, several current and past members of the New York State Legislature, including Assemblymember Robin Schiminger, Assemblymember Crystal Peoples-Stokes, Assemblymember Sean Ryan, Assemblymember Ray Walter, State Senator Tim Kennedy, and a very special acknowledgement to Arthur Eve's longtime colleagues in the legislature, former Senator Dale Walker, former Senator Mary-Lou Roth, former Senator Bill Stosky, and former Assemblyman Paul Tokaz. Together, they accomplished so much on behalf of our region. We are also pleased to welcome County Executive Mark Polenkart and several members of Erie County Legislative Assembly. Buffalo Mayor Byron Brown, Common Council President Darius Pridgen, Empire State Development Council Regional President Sam White, several members of the University at Buffalo Council, and our many other distinguished guests. Thank you. When we celebrated the grand opening of this beautiful building last year, I noted that you would not be standing here at the new home of EOC without the tireless work and vision of Deputy Speaker Eve. His legacy as a champion of greater opportunity, especially in the realm of education, has had a deep and sustained impact on the Buffalo community and UB. In the 40 years since he first fought for state building to seed SUNY Educational Opportunity Program, we have witnessed the tremendous growth and great success of this program and UB's EOC. The EOC has become a beacon of opportunity for many students who have come here and for the larger community. As a leader in civic engagement and service, the EOC has also played an important role in fulfilling our mission at UB and SUNY. It is a mission that greatly reflects the public service legacy of Arthur O.Eve, a man dedicated to improving education and economic and social opportunity in our community. It is indeed a most fitting tribute to honor Arthur Eve's vision and leadership in education by naming this building after him. This beautiful new building in the heart of UB's growing downtown campus is ensuring for generations to come that the EOC will continue to help provide the opportunities for our community that Arthur Eve envisioned. Its impact has been profound, not only by enhancing educational opportunity, but also by creating a rich environment for lifelong learning and providing academic and career training to prepare graduates who will make significant contributions to the Buffalo community. This state-of-the-art collaborative learning environment continues to play a key role in enriching the educational and vocational opportunities that will come with the knowledge-based economy we are building in our region. Our university and our community are inspired by the legacy and leadership of Arthur Eve, and we will continue to work together to sustain and build this legacy. In that spirit, we are honored to recognize his inspiring example as we dedicate this new home for the UB Educational Opportunity Center in his name. Thank you, Mr. Eve, for all the opportunities you have helped create here in Buffalo and across the New York State. And it is now my great pleasure to introduce an individual who is deeply engaged in the work to enhance these opportunities across our region and state, the Lieutenant Governor of New York, Robert F.
Thanks, Satish. Good morning, everybody. First of all, on behalf of Governor Cuomo, I am honored to be here to dedicate this beautiful building behind us. And I start off congratulating President Tripathi and Julius, who will lead this building. I know all the acknowledgements we've had so far. One person I want to also mention is Carl McCall, Chair of our Board of Trustees for SUNY. This is a I know Carl wanted to be able to put out, this is a $26 million SUNY project, a huge investment right here, right in the heart of the Honorable Arthur Eve's district. So it's fitting that this building is named after Arthur Eve. And they write speeches for you, but I don't need to even look at a note. I knew Arthur Eve before I met Arthur Eve. And I used to wonder, why does Rochester get less than Buffalo for aid? And I was mayor, and I was schooled very early, and it was because a gentleman by the name of Arthur Eve, who is the Deputy Speaker of the Assembly, will get, along with Dale Volker and the delegation, everybody in the room, and go down to Albany and a united front, and bring what they could back to Buffalo, and did it consistently year after year after year. So I have had this huge amount of respect for this man long before I met him in terms of what he did. This building really represents what he stood for. He stood for children. He stood for education. He stood for investing in communities. And most importantly, aside from investing in communities, Arthur Eve stood for investing in people in those communities, which is a big trademark of what he stood for. As Satish mentioned, 36 years in the Assembly, Deputy Speaker of the Assembly, the highest ranking African American in the New York State Legislature, a huge history in terms of service that he's done. And he did it time and time again. Not to tell stories, but I know Dale Volker is here. When you talk about bipartisan teamwork, and I think you have it in your delegation here in Buffalo, it didn't start yesterday or last year or 2 years ago. It started way back when Arthur Eve and Dale Volker would get into a room from both sides of the aisle and work as a team. And as Governor Mario Cuomo would explain, when Governor Mario saw Arthur Eve and Dale Volker coming, he knew it was going to cost him some money. So he knew it. And Governor Andrew Cuomo, our current governor, what he has done is really built on that long history of investment here in Buffalo. And I want to make a point. The Buffalo Billion is a huge investment. There's a lot of money coming into Buffalo, and you can feel the vibe and the difference here in this community. But it did start yesterday. The investments today really are on the shoulders of Arthur Eve in terms of what he did, the whole path that he laid out to, again, unite the community, go and bring things back that make a difference here. And what you're seeing today is really just part of Arthur's legacy here in Buffalo. I'm going to close by saying this. I could go through all the things that this man has done in this community for 36 years. I want to say two things and I'll close. One is there are countless, hundreds if not thousands of men and women in this community who might not know Arthur Eve personally, but have benefited from his leadership over the years. And they are probably working in jobs right now, supporting their families, are really living their dream based on what he has done, and really based on what this beautiful building will continue to do in the future. And the last part, we talk about legacies. I don't think about just legacies in terms of political achievements and things you do in office. I think Arthur Eve's greatest legacy is his family. And the family, I know best Lisa Eve, his beautiful daughter, who is Governor Cuomo's Deputy Secretary of Economic Development. You have Champ Eve, Eric Eve. Champ Eve was a force here in politics in Erie County. You have Eric Eve, who served with our current Governor Cuomo in the Clinton administration. And we look at what Arthur's children, what they stand for and what they do. And I'll speak just for my contact with Lisa, who has $1 million personality, very passionate public servant, who really is also instrumental in steering funds and help back to Western New York and Buffalo during her time with our administration. But I think that's one of the greatest testimonies and the greatest monuments of what this man has accomplished. And not only has he done it physically in the community of Buffalo, he's done it with his family, and that legacy lives on. So on behalf of our Governor Cuomo, I want to thank you very much. Arthur, congratulations. May God bless you.
Bennett?
Thank you very much, Julius. A couple of weeks ago, Julius asked me to have the great privilege of speaking to the graduating class of EOC. And I did that, and I can tell you, Deputy Speaker, that I have never seen more enthused, more ready, more excited group of graduates. And I made note then, and I make it now, this wouldn't have happened without Arthur O.Eve. I recall with great fondness the phone call I got on a Monday evening in February saying that Dale Volker and I would like to have you nominated, and we are nominating you to be on the Board of Regents. Be in Albany tomorrow, and I'll take you through the committee process. And I was just very, very impressed with the enormous respect and kindness and love that your colleagues had for you and have for you to this very day. I would say to all of us assembled that one of your greatest legacies, for sure, is your constant advocacy for early childhood education, particularly pre-K. We wouldn't have pre-K today if you hadn't started 25 years ago about saying how important pre-K is to the child. Your other major legacy is the importance of family support services to family, because children don't live in school, they live in families, and we have to have strong families. And when I saw you and Connie, when Connie was getting that national award from United Way of America, Art had 3 cameras around his neck. He must have taken 100 pictures of the beloved Connie Eve for her great work at Albion. So I thank you for your great service. Your legacy lives on for young children and for graduates of EOC. God bless and God keep you.
Thank you, Chancellor Emeritus Bennett. Our next speaker is Mr. Joel Pierre-Lue. Mr. Pierre-Lue will be providing words on behalf of Mr. H. Carl McCall, Chairman, SUNY Board of Trustees.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Morning, Art. As our MC indicated, my name is Joel Pierre-Lue, and I'm Secretary of the State University of New York. I'm here today on behalf of Chairman McCall and also on behalf of members of the Board of Trustees. I'd like to welcome you here today to this special and momentous occasion and to congratulate Deputy Speaker Arthur O.Eve. Unfortunately, the chairman could not be here today due to unforeseen and urgent matters that he had to attend to, but he wants me to convey his sincere appreciation and gratitude to Deputy Speaker Eve for his long-standing service to the people of the state of New York, and in particular to those that are underprivileged. I myself am a direct beneficiary of the hard work that Arthur Eve has put into the state legislature and on behalf of students. I'm a former EOP student, an EOP graduate, and also a member of Arthur's Center. So without further ado, I would like to read in part a resolution that the Board of Trustees passed this past May honoring Arthur Eve and naming this particular center the Arthur O. Eve Educational Opportunity Center. And I will read the last provision within this document, which is the resolve clause, which reads, resolve that the SUNY Board of Trustees unanimously endorses the naming of the University at Buffalo's new Educational Opportunity Center, which opened on June 14, 2013, as the Arthur O. Eve Educational Opportunity Center as a viable and permanent tribute to Assemblyman Arthur O. Eve.
Thank you, Mr. Pierre-Lue. I'd also like to read from a letter that was written by SUNY Chancellor Nancy L. Zimpher in honor of today's event. And just taking a couple of paragraphs from the letter, it reads, it is my great pleasure to welcome you all today on this occasion, the dedication of the Arthur O. Eve Educational Opportunity Center at the University at Buffalo. Simply put, I can think of no one more fitting, no one better to lend his name to the Buffalo EOC than Arthur O. Eve. Deputy Speaker Eve has proven over more than 4 decades of service to his community and state to be a champion for education in New York and in his home region of Buffalo. Our next speaker is U.S. House of Representatives member Mr. Brian Higgins. Congressman Higgins represents New York State District number 26. Congressman.
Thank you very much, Julius. And I remember as a young assemblyman, and Art Eve was legendary in Buffalo and Western New York, the deputy speaker of the assembly, but he was so much more than that. And I was also a student of government, so I was somewhat impressionable, and I wanted to see what made this guy so unique. And I can remember the first budget came out, and it shortchanged Buffalo and its educational system. And all of a sudden, this voice comes bellowing through the assembly chamber. Art Eve's voice, he calls his friend and collaborator, Dale Volker. By noon, the problem is solved. That happened so many times in my 6 years in the assembly, and it was extraordinary. The diversity of issues. My friend Larry Quinn and I were walking in together, and Larry told me that it was Art Eve insistence that the Crossroads Arena be funded that essentially kept the Buffalo Sabres NHL franchise in Buffalo. I never associated hockey and Art Eve. But I think more than anything else, in our day of celebrity, there's 2 sides of our nature. One is the ambitious side, the one we want to build things, we want to create things. And the other is the humble side, where we seek inner peace, where we seek to help others. And if you look at the extraordinary workbook of Arthur O. Eve, he didn't champion celebrated causes. He championed those that didn't have a champion. He gave voice to the voiceless. He recognized that every person in our society has dignity, and it's our responsibility as a society to ensure that that occurs. So as a freshman member of the New York State Assembly, he championed a program which is now housed at this beautiful facility. What a legacy. What an extraordinary legacy. What a gift, not only to the generations that are taking advantage and benefiting from this today, but all those who will. Arthur Eve, our community, a grateful community, owes you a great debt of gratitude. Thank you for all your work. Thank you.
It is my honor to introduce our next speaker, New York State Assemblywoman Crystal D. Peoples-Stokes, representing District 141. It is my pleasure to introduce Assemblywoman Peoples-Stokes.
God be the glory for all the great things He has done. In the life of this awesome man. On the day that Arthur Eve was in Albany to be honored by university systems, there was also the same day that we passed a resolution in the Assembly supporting the university's decision to name this building after him. And when we circulated the memo asking people who wanted to sign on, I just automatically assumed that all of the members of the New York State Black, Puerto Rican, and Asian Caucus would sign on, and they did. But all of the members wanted to sign on. So all of the members of the New York State Legislature have put together this resolution to honor this man at this time, and I am grateful to be here to present it. Having said that, in 2003, actually 2002, I was very honored and very humbled that this community would elect me to go to Albany to follow this man. When I got there, Norman McConney, right away, told me, he said, you know, Arthur had been working on trying to get a new building for the EOC. And I said, oh my God, they need a new building. That building they're in is despicable. It's not worthy of the students who go there. And I said, okay, show me some paperwork. Well, we didn't find any paperwork right away. But when we did find it, we made sure that those dollars got in the budget. We made sure that those dollars got in the budget. And then finally we got to the day where there was going to be a shovel on the ground. I was like, oh, hallelujah. It is about time. And even that process took way longer than it should have. But sometimes God works things in mysterious ways. Things are supposed to happen and take a little longer so that we get it right. And we got this building right, not only in its design, but in its state-of-the-art architecture. And it is worthy of the 2,000 students who come through here every year. And we are all eternally grateful for this man and his vision to say that sometimes people come out of traditional Buffalo public schools and don't have what they necessarily need to find a job, to go to college. They need some additional preparation. That's what the EOC does. And it does it for a lot of people. So when Dr. Tripathi called to say, you know what, Crystal, we had a grand opening. Arthur was here then. It was a great celebration. He said, we want to name the building for Arthur O.Eve. I said, you couldn't have picked a better name. You couldn't have picked a better name for this building. And let me just say this, because of his commitment to education, this is not the last educational building that's going to be named after Arthur Eve. I want to assure you of that. And they all may not even be in Buffalo, because his reach spanned across the state. So it is again truly my honor and my pleasure to be here. Deputy Speaker, there is a huge proclamation which I was not able to bring with me today about this big, that in your name, that I will bring to you and present to you. And what a great opportunity we have as Buffalonians to have them here. A great opportunity to have this powerhouse family in our community. And I'm honored to know them. Thank you and God bless you.
Assemblywoman. Our next speaker is New York State Senator Timothy Kennedy, representing the 63rd Senate District.
Thank you very much. And, Deputy Speaker Eve, thank you so much for what you've given to our community. You know, as a member of the state legislature, we all stand on your shoulders. I stand on your shoulders. The issues that you championed for nearly 4 decades are the issues that we still champion today. And we have a lot of work to do, but we've come a long way. And we've come a long way because of your leadership, Deputy Speaker. And the icon that is before us today that we honor in name on this beautiful building is just that. He's an icon in Western New York politics. He's an icon in New York State government and New York State politics. And even though Deputy Speaker Eve doesn't walk the halls of Albany every single day as he used to in his nearly 40 years of service in this great state, his spirit is still very, very much alive in the halls of the state capitol. And with that, we fight for those that are underprivileged. We fight for those that are looking to go to work. We fight for those that come from impoverished families. We fight for those that come from broken families. And it's all of those intertwined issues that Deputy Speaker, Assemblymember Arthur O.Eve championed as a member of the state legislature. And near and dear to his heart was ensuring that those that came from backgrounds, socioeconomic status, that weren't able to pursue a higher education because of that, were in fact able to follow their dreams, were in fact able to make their dreams a reality, were in fact able to carry out the American dream. Thousands and thousands of individuals that have been impacted because of the work of just one man. And it's inspiring to so many of us, Deputy Speaker Eve. It's inspiring to those that have followed in your footsteps in government. And we do all stand on your shoulders. Thank you very, very much for all of the work that you've given to our state and to our community here in Buffalo and in Western New York. And now thousands of Western New Yorkers are going to learn about your commitment to the people of this great state and our great community as they enter the doors of the Arthur O.Eve Educational Opportunity Center. Congratulations.
Thank you, Senator Kennedy. Our next speaker made history by becoming the first African American to become the mayor of Buffalo. Honorable Mayor Byron Brown. So without further ado, Mayor Brown.
Colleagues in government, SUNY trustee Lewin, UB President Tripathi, Deputy Speaker Arthur O.Eve, and the members of the Eve family that are here, good morning. It is truly an honor and a privilege to be here with all of you today for the dedication of the Arthur O.Eve Educational Opportunity Center. Deputy Speaker Eve has always been steadfast in his belief that education opens the doors of opportunity for all people. And over his career, spanning almost 40 years, he has worked for that tirelessly. I can tell you, as someone who had the privilege of working for Assemblyman Eve and had the privilege of serving with him in the state legislature for a brief period of time, there are two enduring memories that I have that really made it clear to me how he was able to do the amazing things that he did in so many different areas. First is his deep and abiding faith in God. Everything that he did, he took that faith walk with him, and that faith walk undergirded him and gave him the strength for the powerful advocacy that we have seen over the years. The second thing is an amazing work ethic that is just absolutely second to none. And all of us who have had the opportunity to work for Arthur, we know that work ethic, and sometimes to our peril. Because I can tell you, during my period of time working for him, he was the last voice I heard from in the morning, and you heard what I said, in the morning, and he was the first voice that I heard from in the morning. And it was that amazing work ethic, the way he worked the halls of Albany, the way he worked and partnered with his colleagues, like the great Dale Volker that is with us today. That is why he was able to do the amazing things that he was able to do. I am very thankful to him for setting an example of the kind of service that all of us who are in public life should aspire to. He, in his 36 years of service, he was the leading and most powerful voice for educational opportunity programs in the state of New York. So today, to all of those who played a role in naming this building after Arthur O.Eve, thank you. Deputy Speaker, congratulations, and thank you for your amazing and extraordinary work that has provided opportunities for thousands and thousands of people from across this state and nation to get a higher education. Thank you all very much. Have a
Thank you, Mayor. Is Pastor Darius Pritchett. With pleasure, I introduce Pastor and Councilman Darius Pritchett.
Glad you introduced me as pastor first, because this is Arthur O.Eve's heart. It's his God and his belief, and so it wouldn't have been right to not have a pastor come. Let me speak for 2 seconds as a pastor, because there are people who are benefiting on the inside, and everybody knows that Mr. Eve is big on reading. He's big on books. He's big on people understanding Bishop. His bishop, his pastor is here, Bishop Bronner. He's big on people learning. And so when you think about the book, everybody knows the cover. And people say you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. Everybody knows the pages in the book. And they know the fact that the pages contain information, and that the information should lead to transformation in people's lives. But what many people do not concentrate on is what we're concentrating on here today, and that is the binder. Now, no one ever talks about the binder of a book. They talk about the pages, they talk about the cover, but they never talk about the binder. And without the binder, the pages don't stay in order. Without the binder, there is no information that will lead to transformation. The binder never gets the attention that it really should, but without the binder, there really is no book. You can have the best cover, but without the binder, there is no information. Mr. Eve, you are the binder that helps us. You're the binder. You're the binder. You brought us joint schools construction because you're the binder. Pre-K, early and kindergarten because you're the binder. EOC because you're the binder. If your pastor would lend me these words, there's a song that we sing, blessed be the tie that binds. God bless Arthur O.Eve, the binder in our community.
I'll just say, we do appreciate your work. Our next speaker is Ms. Kathy Ann L. King. Ms. King graduated from the EOC in 1997 in what used to be called the GED program. It's now called our high school equivalency program. She then entered the EOC College Prep program in preparation of entering Erie Community College. She went on to get her associate's degree from ECC in 2001, a bachelor's degree from Buffalo State College in 2003, and a master's degree in social work from the University at Buffalo in 2007. Ms. King is currently a doctoral student in the public health program from Walden University with an anticipated graduation date of May 2017. And I think that deserves an applause. I hope we have enriched Ms. King as much as she has enriched us. Ms. King?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's such a pleasure that I have been chosen by the EOC, because the EOC has done so much for me. Thank you, Mr. Eve. You may not remember me, but I spoke to you the day before I did my GED, and you were very inspirational, and for that, I thank you. The Buffalo Educational Opportunity Center was the base for my formal educational journey in the United States. I am originally from the native land of Trinidad and Tobago, West Indies. In my homeland, I had completed my formal education. However, I had to meet the requirements of my ultimate goal to obtain a college degree. I came to this fine institution to accomplish a mission, which was a mere stepping stone towards a better future. Here I met instructors who cared as much as I did about my goals. One of my highlights at EOC is the day I met Mr. Arthur O.Eve. I can recall that day as if it was yesterday. It was the day before my GED examination, and he came and he spoke to us. However, for me, his words were especially valuable because he encouraged us to pursue our dreams. As a result of this dynamic foundation, I received my associate's degree from Erie Community College, then my bachelor's in social work from Buffalo State, after which I pursued my master's degree at the University at Buffalo. Presently, I am a PhD candidate at Walden University studying public health with a desire to be an agent of social change. Education is forever, and as a result, you can change your life and the lives of others. As a mother, it is important to me to succeed because I am a positive role model for my daughter and others I have mentored throughout the years. My daughter, she just received the President's Award for Educational Excellence. Generations are going to change as a result of a simple choice to seek a pathway to self-development by becoming educated. I would like to encourage anyone who may have doubts about this fine institution and what it is doing to motivate and advance educational development. I am in essence a living proof of all the hard work of those who believe in EOC. In the profound words of Pastor Bronner, they are, someday in the future, you will be much better off than you are right now. Never give up on yourself. You are a success. Thank you again, Mr. Eve, and to everyone else who helped me throughout my path to self-development. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. And again, another indication of the legacy that Deputy Speaker has put before us. Our next speaker is SUNY Trustee Eunice Lewin. Trustee Lewin.
Good morning. I am so pleased to be here with all of you for this special dedication. I'm speaking here today as a trustee of the State University of New York, as part of the statewide community of educators representing the thousands of lives changed, opportunities created, and doors opened by the legacy of Arthur O.Eve. Even more than that, I'm also speaking here today as someone who is proud to call Mr. Eve a dear friend and personal inspiration. I have seen Mr. Eve up close and personal. I have known him since the late 1970s when our families worshiped at St. Philip's Episcopal Church. In those bygone days, Mr. Eve and his dear wife Connie both inspired me greatly. His dynamism, forcefulness, passion, and never say die attitude, which served him so well in the halls of power, were evident in his embodiment of brotherhood and fatherhood as he mentored old and young at the church. A very spiritual person, Mr. Eve was not ashamed to proclaim his spirituality. He was God-fearing, but feared no man when it came to advocating for Buffalo and Western New York in harmony. That he was a champion of education as the vehicle to lift people out of poverty and hopelessness is well chronicled. As I travel across the state in my role as SUNY trustee, I have witnessed his impact firsthand as I talk with so many students who have benefited in profound way from his vision. They are the living proof of the great impact this program has had, thanks to the vision of Arthur Eve. And that is why we are here today, to pay homage and honor to a giant among men, a man who worked with presidents and governors, but who never lost the common touch and never failed to deliver for the people he served. It is my esteemed honor to present to you the Honorable Arthur O.Eve. His lovely wife Connie is not here with us today, but she's here with us in spirit, and Connie, we love you. And their accomplished children, Arthur O.Eve Jr., or Champ, as he's known by many of us, and Licia Roberta. O.Eve Jr. will now offer remarks on behalf of the Eve family.
Julius, I'm going to save you a couple of moves here. Family asked me to take a point of personal privilege before I give the final remarks on behalf of the Eve family. I'd like to bring up that other part of the odd couple that you heard talked about earlier today. Norma Connie, who's the best chief of staff that anyone in the state could ever have, clearly refers to Pierre Volker and Arthur Eve as the hardest working team of state legislators that the state has ever seen, and has done more for this region than any other suburban Republican senator and inner city Democratic assemblyman have ever done. So I'd like to bring Dale Volker up for a couple of words.
The reason for this is that Arthur insisted, and I consider my stepdaughter, Lisa Eve, and you have to understand that the Volker and Eve families became immensely accommodating over the years. I can tell you just a couple of quick stories that Arthur might not want me to say, but I will. We actually became friends when I was in the assembly for a short time, between 72 and 74. We had a mutual admiration society for Nelson Rockefeller. Let's just say that Arthur had a problem with Nelson, and I had a big problem with Nelson. He eventually pushed me, and I won't get into all the details, but we became, even though we fought on the floor of the assembly, and we did, because we had a little different views, but we became fast friends. When Rockefeller succeeded in knocking me out of the assembly as he'd done my father, I came back a month later to the Senate, and I remember saying to Arthur, well, you know, you couldn't get rid of me that easy. But let me tell you that you gotta understand, you can say all the nice things about me you want, but in Albany, seniority means everything. So Arthur had seniority over me, remember that. I mean, yeah, I had seniority in the Senate, but he had seniority. And the two of us got together and we said, look, everybody's fighting. Buffalo is Beirut by the lake, everybody knew it. But we decided that God had kind of designated, and you know, with Arthur, God designated Connie to take care of him. God designated a Democrat woman named Carol Suhena, who's now Carol Volker, for me. Thank God, because I don't know what would have happened to me if I hadn't got hurt. At any rate, I firmly believe that God directed us to try to save Buffalo, which we did do. By the way, it's a big secret. Buffalo is the most subsidized city in the United States of America. I don't know if you realize that. Most people don't realize that. And Erie County is doing extremely well, thank goodness. But Arthur is the guy who really did that. But I will finish just by saying, no one knows more than I do that every minority in this state, not just African Americans, every minority, owes Arthur O.Eve a debt of gratitude that they can never pay. But we did what we did, thanks to Norman McConney, who's here, and Paul Togosh, and so many others, some of whom have passed on, because it was the right thing to do. And God was good to me, and he was good to Arthur, and he was good to Buffalo and Western New York. Thank you very much.
Well, you met most of the family, some that you haven't had a chance to meet, but on behalf of the entire Eve family, we're extremely honored by this Educational Opportunity Center in the name of my father. The 5 Eve children, Alicia, who you've met, myself, 10 Eve grandchildren, 5 that you've been introduced to, brother Ryan, or grandson, what have you, Eric, Lewis, Shana, Melzetta, and Lanisha. One of 5 great-grandchildren, Kendall, a daughter-in-law, Felicia Stenhouse Eve, who couldn't be here today, and as you understood, my future wife to be October 9th, the future Mrs. Arthur O.Eve Jr., Kim Whitley. We're honored. We're honored. I also have 5 relatives from my father's maternal side of the family, the Gibson clan. I know more about my father's maternal side of the family than other 3 sides of my family put together, because the Gibson family has some of the best genealogists and some of the best historians that you've ever seen. One is behind the camera, Burl, and 4 more are sitting here. Sam, if you ever need somebody to write your genealogy, Sam Gibson is the one. My cousin Marcia, my cousin Jeff, and his beautiful wife Kathy have come many, many miles just to spend this celebration with my father. And for that, we're truly grateful. University of Buffalo, blue and white. It's been very close to the Eve family for almost 40 years. I began night school there in 1979 at the urging of Helen Strickland, and became a graduate of the school, as did my brother Malcolm. In 1992, I actually worked at 465 Washington Street at the Educational Opportunity Center. And one thing that the Tana Lee Bachelors, the Beverly Doves, the Levon Ansaris, the Cheryl Weems, one thing they let me know the day I walked in there is that, yeah, your father started this building, but if you can't make a person's life better from the time they walk in this building to the time they walk out, then you're in the wrong place. They made me understand very quickly what the mission of the Educational Opportunity Center. I began as a nursing assistant counselor, and I met women who had decided they no longer wanted to receive a check from downtown every month, and they wanted to do more with their lives. And some of them had to struggle with men who were used to them staying at home and keeping them company. And sometimes we had a crew that were going to have to visit that other half of the family and say, if you're not going to help her, then leave the household. When I became the admissions counselor in Beverly Dove, I learned firsthand the importance of the Educational Opportunity Center. Folks who came there to take the entrance test, and 2-3 years later got the GED, got the nursing assistant's degree, got accepted to college, graduated from college as the young lady here is about to do. There's nothing you can do to give you a joy like that. In 2003, the University of Buffalo spearheaded the first SUNY-wide honorary doctorate that my father was awarded in Albany. In 2010, Canisius College bestowed an honorary doctorate upon my father, but they did it at Alumni Arena at the University of Buffalo. In fact, today, my son Lewis starts working at the STEP program. He's going to be late, but hopefully he can put a word in for him. Not going to be too late. He's supposed to be there at 12, but I think we got enough juice here. A fond memory is October 23rd of last year. My mother went to go see her favorite First Lady, Hillary Clinton, speak at the University got there, we realized the reception was in one building and Alumni Arena was some distance away. And after she had an opportunity to talk to her favorite first lady and my sister's former boss, we were struggling with how to get her from A to B. And I asked the security guard for help. And I walked a lady named Connie Holloman, deputy to the president. And she walked with my mother arm in arm through an underground passage that I never knew about in my 6.5 years at UB. And got us from the Special Events Center to the Alumni Arena. And at the end of the program, she showed up with an escort in a wheelchair and took my mother from her seat to her car door. I have not seen Connie Holloman since then. But if she's here today, and if she's not, please let her know that the Eve family is in debt to the gratitude she showed us that day. My mom can't be here today. She's at Buffalo General Hospital, and I ask you to say a prayer for her. But make no mistake about it, there would not be an Arthur O.Eve Educational Center if it was not for Constance B. She's the wind beneath our wings. In 36 years in the state assembly, there's a lot of things my father couldn't be at. He couldn't be at the dance recitals, the piano recitals. He's at Albany trying to fight to get the EOP program started. He couldn't be at the high school football games or the soccer games or the basketball games. He's trying to get the graduate opportunity program started. September 9, 1972, he couldn't be at home. But my mother huddled her 5 children there and explained to them that yes, your father's about to embark on a journey that might not see him come back. But she made us understood that he had to leave that house that night to go to the worst place in the world, Attica Prison, because the inmates insisted he come there that night. She's the rock in which we stand on. She's the rock in which we stand on. There might not be a building named after her. If you get to 184 Jewett Parkway, you will see the house, the home, the family that Constance B. built. Most of you have seen my father walk up to children, Gigi's, Maddie's, and say, what do you want to be when you grow up? What school do you go to? What's your favorite subject? I can't imagine there's a person in this room that has not seen him do that once. And he does that because he understands that education is the key. Education is the key. He took me to Attica 5 months before that ride started out. I was going into my freshman year at Canisius High School, and he said, you know, when you go to school, this is where you're going to be. I got that message. It took a little while, but Bishop, I got that message. I got that message. Webster defines education as the knowledge, skill, and understanding that you'll get from attending school, college, or university. Opportunity is described as a favorable juncture of circumstances. I like that. They're also defined as a good chance for advancement or progress. The name Arthur Eve stands for gaining knowledge, which leads to advancement. The name Arthur Eve stands for gaining skill that leads to progress. As Bishop Brown said, somewhere in the future you look much better than you do right now. I believe that was his motto and what forced him to fight the way he did for the 36 years. Jeremy Kubicek, author of Making Your Leadership Come Alive, was asked, how does one determine whether or not they're a politician or a public servant? He said, what's the difference? He said, the answer is rather simple. Public servants put the interests of those they serve ahead of their own. Politicians, on the other hand, put their own interests ahead of those they serve. That's quite a definition of my father. As you can tell from here today. Having created the EOP, graduate opportunity programs, Educatinal Opportunity Centers, and others, it is clear that no one will ever doubt what category my father falls into. Some of you may have heard my father tell the story about how he was raised. He was raised by a single mother and grandmother in a housing project in Miami, Florida called Liberty City. And his mother and his grandmother, known as the Gibson's family, his cousin Muggy, they raised him. And my grandmother taught my father that as you do unto the least of God's children, so you do unto God. When my father was a kid, a car ran over him and then backed up. remember him again. He should have died. But my great-grandmother told my father, you've been kept alive for a reason. I'm not sure what it's for, and I know she's in heaven. She understands right now what it's for. And I have no doubt that that path was set for him at an early age to be of service to others. And so, your honor today clearly demonstrates what some of my great-great-grandchildren may never know by having the opportunity to meet their great-grandfather, great-great-grandfather. But decades from now, 100 years from now, this building will stand as a testimony to our father, our grandfather, our great-grandfather. His legacy is about service. This is about service, not what you can do for me, but what I can do for others. The Eve family is very grateful for this honor you bestowed upon us. And so, we thank you on behalf of our cousin, our great-grandfather, our future father-in-law, our grandfather, our father, and our hero, Arthur O.Eve.
Could I have Alicia and Arthur and President Tripathi? And the plaque states, the Honorable Arthur O.Eve, a leading champion of educational, economic, and social equality, whose distinguished legacy and inspiring vision have opened doors of opportunity and created pathways for success across our university and higher education communities throughout New York State. Arthur O.Eve, Educational Opportunity Center, dedicated June 30th, 2014.